Hi there. How's everybody doing today? Sorry, I am. I am. Oh, there I am. I'm streaming to a few new places today, and one of them is um, oh, that was fun. Instagram. So if you are watching me, there's no telling where you're watching me. So drop me some comments. Let me know where you're joining us for our Lunch and Learn today. For those of you who don't know me and haven't seen me before, my name's April Childers, and I am your host for our Lunch and Learn. Today we are streaming into Facebook, into LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. So hopefully you are seeing us on one of those places. And hopefully I can see comments. Now, a lot of these I can't see names. So you might have to tell me your name and tell me where you're watching from today, because I don't even know all the places. It's not going to be more than half an hour, I promise. Pinky swear, not more than half an hour, and because I know you got stuff to do and you're busy. But today I'm very excited. I know a lot of y'all have watched me in the past and you've seen different things that I've done, but today I'm really diving into my passion and where I'm taking my company. It is for women who have served in the military and are transitioning into civilian life. So that could be that you're experiencing that now, or maybe 10 years ago, and something's still not right. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm so glad that you found me today, because that's some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about. Today is just going to be, we're just dipping our toe in the water, because I know firsthand that it is a long road, to this process. This year, I'll be retired 10 years. It's not till December, so I've got a ways. But yeah, it is an ongoing process, and I don't want it to take 10 years for you. So that is my goal for this training, and where I'm taking my business is that I know what I went through. I felt lost. I felt like I had no purpose. I felt like people didn't speak the same language as me. I mean, and my husband's retired military, but he retired 2 years before I did. So he had that time to adjust. And I don't know about your husband, ladies, but sometimes they're not on the same page that we're on when it comes to, as we're going through and transitioning through things. So drop me some comments, say hello, tell me if you're retired military or if you're prior military. You notice that I'm not using the word veteran. And I want to clarify why I'm staying away from that word, because women overall do not, in a lot of cases, I'm not saying 100%, in a lot of cases, we do not identify as a veteran. Okay. So I want to make sure that if you have served in the military, even if it was 20 years ago, or even, if it was a year, 2 years, whatever it was, 30 years, that you know that I'm talking to you, because you served and you are going through a transition to get back into civilian life. And I know some of you are thinking, you know what? This should be easy, because I thought the same thing. I was like, what's the big deal? I'm just going to be a civilian. I was a civilian before I came in. I'll be a civilian after I get out. But sometimes it's not that easy. I know in my case, I spent 20 years in, and after 20 years of being told where to go, what to do, how to do it, when to do it, what to wear while you're doing it, and even sometimes in how to think while you're doing it, um, you lose yourself in the process. And that was the hardest part for me, was I don't even know who I am anymore. And I've spent the last 9 years trying to figure out who I am. So I just want to make that process, help you through that process, make it a little easier for you, so it doesn't take you 9 years to figure out. But so let's talk about some of the challenges that women experience. And I'm not saying that men don't experience this, okay? So don't send me hate mail and say that I'm a man hater. I'm not. I love my husband. I worked with a lot of great men who taught me a lot, but there's a lot of resources out there for men. And I just, after looking around and seeing, anytime you have a business idea, people will ask you, they'll tell you, you need to validate your idea. You need to make sure there's a need for that. Well, and that's going out and seeing what's already out there on the market. There is not a lot out there on the market for women who are transitioning into civilian life out of the military. Um, I don't think that that means that there's not a need for it. I just think it means that that's not where people are focusing. And maybe, I don't know. So you tell me, is there a need for this? What kind of stuff did you experience when you transitioned out of the military? All right, so some of the things we're going to talk about today is that, like getting a job. In most cases, most people do have to work or decide to work. There's a running joke when you're in the military. I stayed in because I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. Well, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. So, but transitioning from a military world into a civilian world, there's a lot to that because I'm not, civilians work differently than military do. We have a discipline about us. We're very systematic. And when I say these things, okay, they are not overall like, this is how the world is. Sure, there are people that were in the military that are not that way, but and we speak a different language, I mean, we go to the head, the bathroom. We, trying to think. We have peeways, we have bulkheads, we have a whole different language. So not only are we transitioning from the world that we've known for however long, now we're having to learn a new language in whatever job that we decide to, or career that we just decide to go into. Also, your coworkers, you feel like sometimes besides speaking a different language, you might have different priorities because you are learning how to be at home. You're learning how to interact with your family and your friends, and you don't have that deployment waiting for you that's, hanging over your head, whether it's a blessing or a curse when you go. Um, and some of these jobs that military people get when they get out, that there's not the purpose. They lack purpose from what they did in the military. No matter what it was, people were relying on them. If you were in senior management, then you had junior soldiers, sailors, airmen to take care of. And all of a sudden, you're working maybe a minimum wage job or even a corporate job. And is there that sense of purpose for that person? So it's not that they're trying to be difficult. It's if you tell them, and I still fight this after 9 years, I'm very literal. So if you tell me that this is the way it needs to be done, then that's the way it's going to be done. And if I have problems with that, then I'm going to come back to you and say, we can't do it that way, or I'm running into this issue. So what's the workaround? And sometimes civilians are not quite as literal, but your military people are. So it kind of drives us crazy that when we get into the civilian world. So let's see. A lot of times, especially for women, like I said, you're encountering the cultural shift from that structured military environment to a more fluid, informal, civilian workplace. And not only are we doing that, is we're also, there's no telling what we did in the military. Like I worked on electronics in the military. I fixed communication, radar equipment on the ships, things like that. Computers, I did some with computers. Didn't like computers. Trust me, I did not like computers, but I did it. So, but when I knew when I got in the civilian world, I did not want to do that. Some people really liked what they did in the military and they want to continue that in the civilian world. Part of the problem is that when they're job hunting and they're trying to get their resumes, a lot of the times the things that we do in the military don't don't transition well to a resume. So, because you can say, I went on a 6-month deployment or a 7 or 8 month deployment. I went overseas to Tasmania. I handled this kind of budget. I did whatever. How do you change that to a civilian resume where it still carries the impact that it did for the job that that fully represents the job that you did? So, and I know a lot of this is like work related. I didn't look for another job when I retired. My husband and I had bought a convenience store, which would not recommend to anybody. No. Um, so I went straight to, I retired one day in Virginia. We stayed the night. We drove back to Tennessee the next day, and that was Saturday. Monday, I went to work with him in the store. And I was like, wait a second, you had a year off and I get a day off? So, yes. But and that's a different thing is I knew when I retired I did not want to work for someone else. So some of the people that are getting some of these women that are getting out of the military know that they don't want to work for somebody else. They don't want to take orders anymore. So maybe they want to be an entrepreneur. Part of the problem or part of the struggle when you transition into the civilian world is figuring out what you want to do. And sometimes people take jobs because they have to pay the bills. Not everybody retires with a full pension and all this other stuff. Maybe they did 10 years and they just decided that they'd had enough, or maybe their family situation. There's so many maybes. You're hearing that, right? Because everyone is different. And I hate to break this to you, but the military does a great job of getting us in. Newsflash, they do a great job of getting us in. I mean, it is, you go through, you're there. I don't even know. You're so sleep deprived. I don't even know how many days I was there before I actually got to sit down. But they give you all your immunizations. They do all your paperwork. They get you your uniforms. They have everything. Everything is very structured and to get you into this system. Getting out of the system is not that easy. I know I had a checkout sheet from my command, people that I had to come and see, and either, they take you out of systems, whatever the case may be. And then the base itself had a checkout sheet where I had to go to medical and get medical to sign off. I had to do any number of things. But that was it. It's like you put in a request, you say, hey, I'm ready to retire. I want to retire this month, this year. And they say yes or no. I don't know if a lot of you civilians realize that, but they can say no. And they do say no from time to time, depending on the situation, the world situation, so many things. So manning, all that kind of things. So I know I'm kind of all over the place, but I've got some notes, but a lot of my notes are about job hunting. And I know that not every woman that gets out of the military job hunts. Some of you do, but so that's why I'm kind of all over the place. I hope it makes sense to you. I hope you can follow me. So let's see. There we go. I just closed my notes. But okay, I'm still good on time, 14 minutes. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, then how do you go about that? I know when I was in, they had a Boots to Business, I think that was the name of it, class that you could go through. But you also had to go through, I had to go through, they call it TAP, Transition Assistance Program, or yeah, I think that was what it called. So I went through that, but 3.5 days of that, it was 5 days. So the first day You went over basic information. And then at lunch, they said, oh, when you come back, we're going to talk about doing your resume. We're going to talk about, how to interview, what to wear to interview, all this job hunting stuff. And I'm sitting there kind of looking around like, what if you don't want to find a job? They looked at me like I had two heads. I'm here to tell you. So, and I asked the question of, well, don't you have alternatives for people who maybe want to start their own business or anything like that? No, no, we don't have that. That's so sad. That's how I felt. That's just so sad, really. In this big organization, you can't give people the alternative to, okay, you may not want to find a traditional job again. There are a lot of people out there that do 20, 30 years in the military and then go on and do another 20, 30 years in the civilian sector or as a government contractor or whatever, as a government employee somewhere else. So it happens a lot, but not every case is the same. So, and that's where I think the traditional methods of people transitioning are lacking. And a lot of it is set up for men, by men, for men. Hello, newsflash, there are women in the military. They're getting better, but they're still not where they need to be. So, because as women, we go through different things as we transition. Like I said, we may be all of a sudden the primary caregiver to our children. Yeah, after so many years of being gone, all of a sudden you may be learning how to be a mother again. I know that sounds kind of silly, but if you've been gone and you've been on deployments and for however many years, and then all of a sudden you're home with this person and you have to get to know them again. They have to get to know you again. And I know some of you military spouses are out there like, yeah, been there, done that. I'm the one at home sitting around taking care of things. And when they come back from deployments, all of a sudden they want to take over the house. I know, and we're sorry about that. That's just kind of in our blood. That's just what we do. But it is definitely a struggle. So we're at 17 minutes now. I'd love to know if anybody has any questions out there and, or share your experiences. What are some of the things, like I've got a friend of mine who has been retired for 2 years, and she is just now getting to the point where she feels like she's recovered enough to get out into the world again. She just got a job, and I know not everybody can take 2 years off, but she planned. She was very good with her money, and she's like, I didn't want to deal. She had, little jobs here and there, but she just didn't want to deal. She just needed to stop and take a breath. And I know there's a lot of traditional methods to get help out there. I mean, the VA is better than it used to be, but a lot of people, once they get out of the military, they don't trust the system. They don't want to be in the system. So there's a lot of struggles when it comes to things like that. I will tell you, and I mean, I did the same thing. So I can tell you firsthand that no, I figured I have insurance. I don't need to be in the VA system, but there are a lot of reasons to be in the VA system. So if you haven't checked that out, excuse me, or you want more information, please reach out. I'd love to answer any questions for you. I am not by any means an expert on them, but we can get you questions answered. Okay. I am involved in my local, we have a veterans coalition in my area, and, we're just trying to help veterans. And after seeing the need that's really out there, in a lot of cases, they're the younger veterans. We've got different age brackets, of course, but then a lot of the same feelings. Like the younger veterans or people that have served are not My dog's coming down to say hello. So they are not in the system either, but for maybe not the same reason, because they feel like the organizations, the different veteran organizations that are out there just want to up their membership numbers. So they're staying away from them. The older veterans were told, your time is up, go home. And they went home. A lot of them have never even filed a VA claim, which is so sad. So if you know people like that, and for those of you who have listened to this, if it's not your situation, if that's not you, then you know what? You probably know somebody that has served, that has struggled as they got out. So please share this information with them. If you'd like more information, drop me a comment. I've got a private Facebook group and I have a private LinkedIn group. So, because if you're not a Facebook person, that's okay. I just wanted to give you another resource to be able to get into a private community and share sisterhood and support. So drop me some comments, drop me some love, say hello, and I will talk to y'all soon. If there's anything in particular that you would like to know more about when it comes to transitioning out of the military, please drop me some comments or reach out, send me a private message, however you're comfortable with doing it. And that way we can get some more information and connect. And if you'd like to know what I do, then, by all means, drop me a comment and we can book a discovery call, a free discovery call. All right. Y'all have a great day. Be blessed. And I'll see you next week for our Lunch and Learn. Bye.